In 1997, a colleague of mine and I travelled to Boston to have a look at the Bicon dental implant system. We were drawn to this system because of its simplicity. After having 10 years or so of using screw-retained devices on our implants and being somewhat dissatisfied with the outcomes and expense, we thought that perhaps the Bicon implant system might prove to be a game changer in our practices. So off we went to Boston to see what the guys over there had to say. The system is really rather simple. The surgery is very straightforward. A slight difference from the surgeries often carried out. The osteotomies are created at 50 revolutions per minute with no irrigation. This means you can collect a decent amount of bone from the osteotomy. The implants are buried subcrestally and can be used really rather short. As you can see, the amount of bone that's being put over the sloping shoulder of the implant. The other thing about it is that the abutments are held in place by a locking taper. This means to say the abutments are solid and they're preppable, but also lots of other ways to restore them, but it's pretty simple. Here's a case that we did after having been told that we would only need 8mm implants. This lady is sadly losing posterior teeth due to a rather improbable posterior only occlusion. We placed an implant. This is the first 8mm implant that was placed. There it is restored in 1997, and here we have a look at it. Many years later, in 2017, you can see that the implant is placed crestally. There's bone growing over the sloping shoulder, and it's working really, really well. But sadly, with this occlusion, she starts to lose other posterior teeth. And so, even though this is comparison, we can see that rather nicely the molar is being lost, molar is removed. An even shorter 5mm implant is now placed. We're told that these work particularly well and we don't need anything longer. In fact, this is what I've been using almost exclusively for a while. Here we see it restored with bone over the sloping shoulder, working really, really nicely. And because of her posterior occlusion being so traumatic, I prefer to use metal on the occlusion. We had to remove an upper tooth and replace that one with a 6mm implant, which again is working very nicely. Again, posterior occlusion in metal, working wonderfully well. And here we are 3 years later with a bone well established over the sloping shoulder. And this lady, its posterior occlusion is now safe.